Hi, happy Tuesday. Amy D here. In case you didn't know who I was already, let's make some mini file folders. Um, these, I've got three of them here. These I just made out of file folder material, not file molder. And I inked the edges. You can use regular cardstock. You can use digitals printed out. You can use scrapbook paper. These are file folders. I cut down a file folder to make these. So let's just make some. We're going to make some out of scrapbook paper and put them in our box, ready to go. These ones, of course, you would want to decorate, but the other ones that I'm making today are scrapbook paper, like I said, and they're already nice. You don't have to do anything to them. Anyways, let's get cracking. So what I did is I pre-cut my papers because I didn't want you to have to sit through that, and they are 4.5 inches wide, 4.5 wide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 tall. So 4.5 wide, 6.5 tall. And what we're going to do is, so this requires a little bit of measuring, but don't worry because I did it for you. You don't have to worry about any of that. So I'm going to take each one of these papers. I've got them all upside down. Of course I do. And at the top, I'm going to start with my top one. This is the one that I want to be on the top. And you need to decide what you want on the front of your file folder. And I think that I want it to be like that. So this is going to be my inside. And I'm going to take this down. I'm going to lay it down on my mat. And I want to take my pencil and I'm going to mark at 1 3/4. So here's my 1/4, 1/2, 1 3/4. And I'm going to make kind of a long pencil line there so that I can see it. You'll see why in a minute. And I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to make these tabs. But anyways, this is the first way. This is number 1, 1 3/4 from the left. Now our second page, we're going to, let's see. I think, how do I want this? I don't want it like that. And I don't want it like that. So I guess I'm going to want it like that. So this is going to be my inside. So the second piece, same size, I'm going to line it up on my mat and I'm going to mark it at, I am going to mark it at 1 1/4. So here's my 1 and here's 1/4. I'm going to make that pencil line. So 1 1/4 and 3 2/4. So we've got 1, 2, I'm sorry, not 3 2/4. That would be a half. It's 3 1/4. So 1, 2, 3 1/4 right there. This is going to be our middle tab. Okay. So we're going to put that aside. And now this is going to be our outside paper. And then I want it like this because I love those words there. So this is my inside. I'm going to line it up on my mat again. And I'm going to make one mark on this one because it's going to be my final tab. We're going to have 3 tabs. 3 file folders, 3 tabs. And this one, I'm going to mark at 2.5. And then it'll go to 4.5, which is where the end is. So we don't need to make another mark. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's our half, the end. Here's 1, 2.5 where we made this mark. I'm going to make it a little bit longer. Now the first way I'm going to show you to do it is by using that tab punch that I showed you before that I have. Hold please. And it is very, very handy for making these kind of tabs. Well, actually, you know what? Let's just do these the other way. We're going to mark, we're going to line it up on here, and we're going to draw a line 1/2 inch across. We're going to go right at our 1/2 inch line. We're going to draw that line across, And now we want to cut, this is our last tab, so we want to cut this section out. We want to cut from here and there. So let me get a knife. Oh, it's right in front of me, you guys. Right there. Right there it is. We'll do it this way first. So we're going to cut on our line right down to the line that I drew for the tab. And then we'll pick it up. We'll line it up on our mat. And cut right down that line. We'll go just like that. There. There's one tab. That's our last tab. This is going to be our, let's see. Oh, this is our middle tab. So I've got my lines here. We're going to do 1/2 inch again. We'll do just like this. And this time I'm gonna make those lines down long enough. And we're gonna cut out this top piece and this bottom piece, leaving our middle tab. So we're gonna go right down to the line and then start at that line and go right down. And now we'll flip it over. And we're going to go line it up. And this one was at that 1/4 mark, so we'll line it up there. And we're going to go right down there. That comes out. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to line this up at the line so that we have a nice straight line. And actually, I'm going to do it this way because it'll make it easier. I can see where the cut is already to know where to stop, because that is important. If you go past, then you don't have the right size tab. Okay, so let's line it up here. Line it up on our lines. And we're going to cut right down there. There we go. So there's our middle tab. And now we've got our first tab. We're going to do our 1/2 inch line. And if you use a pencil, you can erase all of this. That's important. You want to be able to erase it all. So we'll line it up on our grid so that we have a nice straight line. We're going to go right down 1/2. And we're going to cut this. Nope, we want that piece. We're going to cut this piece out. I'm going to make my line a little bit longer so I know where to go to. And I'm going to start there and go right down the edge. And then I'm going to turn it around and cut that out as well. We'll line it up. And we're going to go right there. There we go. Okay, so now this is what our file folders look like, right? We've got these square edges. So let's take our scissors and let's just cut. We've got that. Let's see. Let's just, we know that's a 1/2 inch down, so let's mark that. And we've got those lines, and then we'll mark a 1/2 inch on this one so that we know, oh, we've already got our line drawn, so we're good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut some little triangles off so that they match. We're just going to bring it over, just like we do for a tag, and line it up on the other side. And if you have troubles getting in with these little triangles and you're afraid of cutting your fingers, you can draw it, draw the line with the with your pencil and then just cut it. And I'll show you how to do that on this one. So I've got my little mark on there right there. And so I'm going to go, actually, let's just use our triangles from our other ones. And we'll just draw them on there to make it a little bit easier. And then they'll all be the same. And what we'll do, let me turn it this way so that you can see it too. We'll just put it right up here. And we'll just draw that triangle line down, and then we'll flip it over and do it again on the other side. Put it right up there in the corner. Get it so that you can hold on to it and see it. And we'll just draw that line down. There's that one we'll cut. And then we've got one more. We'll take the same triangle and we'll put it over here in the corner. We'll just go right here and draw that line. And we'll flip it over and do the same thing on this side. Just like that. Now we'll cut these right down those lines that we had. I got a little bit of a straggler hanging there, so I'll cut that off there. Now that one's done, and now we'll cut this one. Right there, and right there. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. Okay, I'm going to use my circle rounder, or not circle, my corner rounder, and I'm going to, I think I'm going to use the small one, and just go in, cut these corners. We'll do all 4 corners, just like that. Well, 3 corners, not 4. 4 on one of them, 3 on 2 of them. Okay. And there. Now all we have to do, we're going to take this up and we're going to fold it just right about yay much. That's yay much right there. So let's see. It's about 1/8 of an inch. So we'll fold it from about 1/8 of an inch from the top. We'll get our handy dandy bone folder that we can find right now and give that a nice good crease. And there's our middle one. This one is going to go about 1/8 of an inch to the top. Line up the sides. We'll get our handy dandy there. I think that's what I'm going to name it, handy dandy. And then we'll get our last one. Same thing, about 1/8 of an inch from the top, handy dandy. And we have got our 3 file folders. Let's give it a little bit of ink just to define it a little bit. And then we'll make some, and this is Stamperia paper, by the way. Then we'll make some with some Timmy paper. And we'll use this punch, that envelope punch. This is another thing that you can do with your envelope punch if you have one. So give that some ink. Ink it across the bottom. You can ink it on the back if you want to. Why not? We're inking. We might as well ink it all, right? There. There's one. I like this paper. This is like a Sleeping Beauty pad of paper. And, well, I wouldn't make necessarily a Sleeping Beauty journal. I don't even know how I got it. But I love some of the florals in it. I think it's so pretty. So that's why I have it, because I wouldn't necessarily make the Sleeping Beauty part, the fairy tale part, which there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's beautiful. And as a matter of fact, I'm watching Maleficent right now. But I thought these would go nice with my Medieval Mirage journal. So there we go. There are 3 file folders. You can, you know, put papers in them. You can put pictures in them. You could make one, and you could glue it here and have a pocket, just like that. You could stand it up on its side and glue it there and there and have a side tuck. So there's a lot of things that you can do with them. They're cute with just stuff, you know, stuffed and stuck in a pocket. But there's 3 of them. Let's make a couple more. We're going to mass make these, and I'm going to use the this envelope punch that we used before. And we can use that just with the corner and the notch punch. So I've already cut my papers. They are 4.5 by 6.5. Let's see what we want here. I think I want this on the inside and I want this on the outside. So I'm going to mark, and it's going to be tough because it's black. So let's, you know what? No. We're going to mark the first one at 1 3/4 inches. There's 1 3/4. I got to make that kind of long and kind of dark so I can see it good. The second one, I want this on the outside, and I do want that brown band. So I'm going to mark this one at, I'm going to mark it at 1 1/4, so 1 1/4, and I'm going to mark it again at 3 1/4. So 1, 2, 3 1/4. Kind of long. We'll erase those. And then this one I want like this. So we're going to put it right here, and this one we're going to mark at 2 1/4. So 1, 2, 2.5. Let's make it 2.5. 1, 2 1/2. 2.5, and then we'll have 4.5 at the end. So we're going to cut out this part when we do it. We're going to cut out this part and this part, and on this one we're going to cut out this part. So we'll draw 1/2 inch lines on. Actually, we don't even need to do that with these ones. So the marks that I made that long mark, that I'm going to put that mark in the center of my notch. So I'm just going to slide it back and make a notch. This one, I've got the 2 marks on there. I'm going to put the mark in the center of my notch. If you can see, I'm sliding it in. Where is that mark? Right in the center of that notch. And I'm going to punch it. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this one. I'm going to slide it into the center of my notch. And punch. And then we're going to do this one. There's our mark. We're going to put that right in the center. There. Okay, so we've already marked off where we're going to cut. So now what I do with this notch is the very bottom of the notch, I want to line up with a line. So I'm going to put down here so that I have it across the line. Oh, let me go up one. Across this line so it's straight. And I'm going to line up with that line. And then I'm going to line up my notches with the bottom of my notches with this line. I'm going to take my ruler, and we've already X'd out that we're going to mark off this. We're going to cut off this end and this end. So let me get my knife here. And we're going to start at the end and go right up to that notch. It'll come off. And then we're going to go down to this notch and cut this end off. And now we've got our middle notch. So now we're going to do the same thing with this one, but we're going to cut off this end of it. So I'm going to line it up again on that line, and I'm going to line the valley of my notch, that low point, with this line. And we're only going to cut this end off. We're not going to cut this end off because this is our notch or our tab. So we'll go right along here. And sometimes it really does help to make those marks so that you don't accidentally cut off an area that you didn't mean to cut off. Ask me how I know, and I'll be happy to tell you. So let's line up here. We're going to line up on this line first, get that straight, and then we're going to line the valley with this line, just so that we can just barely see the mat line in the valley of the low point of that tab. And we're cutting off this end now. And had I not looked at that, I probably would have went up there. So there's that. That's off. And now we've got these three. So now let's go through and we're going to take the same cutter and we're going to round our corners right on the corner side. Let's do that. Let's try it. Let's see if we like how that. Yep, that's good. So we'll do all four of those like that. We'll do this one. And then this one, we're going to put that edge in. And right there. Get rid of the garbage. And now we're going to fold it up. We're going to do just like we did before, about an eighth of an inch from the top. We'll get our little handy dandy. We'll do this one. About an eighth of an inch from the top. Line up our sides. And the same thing with this one. And now we've got 1, 2, 3. Cute. And they look completely different because of the tabs, but they're all the same. So let's give this a little bit of ink just to define it a little bit. This is already grungy. I love it. We'll only do the black edge just to make the white core notice, you know, not so white. Do that. And then we'll do this one. Have y'all made file folders before? I like having them. They're fun. They're cute little pockets. They're nice little additions, you know, to stuff in your pockets, and they're just easy to make. You can make these in just a couple of minutes and have a set of them. You know, not just, you could make just one if you wanted to, and you can make them different sizes too. You just need to adjust, and it takes a little bit of girl math, well, any kind of mathing, to get your tabs to show up in the right spots, but you'll figure it out. You can make them bigger, you can make them smaller. I've got a die that makes like little ones, but I do use the die for that. But anyways, there's set number 2. So we got 1 and 2. Which one do you like better? These tabs with the triangular edges, or do you like the rounded tabs? I'm not going to lie, I kind of like the rounded tabs better, but I like these, and I absolutely will use those. So there's that. Let's make one more set. I've got some Timmy paper, and it's in the mail thing, because I am going to make a mail journal one of these, M-A-I-L journal one of these days. So let's do our marks. I want the letters on the outside, and I want the stripes on the inside. Again, they are 6.5 by 4.5, and I'm gonna make this mark is this is gonna be my first one, and it's 1 3/4. We're just gonna do this one kind of fast so that you don't have to keep watching me do the same thing over and over again. I really like that flower, but it's kind of upset. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this one this way. And it's going to be our second one. So we're going to do, let's see, we're going to do 1 1/4 and 3 2/4. So 1, 2, 3 and 1/4. Not 2/4, 3 1/4. Why can't I spit that out right today, you guys? I'm going to mark where we're going to cut to, just so that there's, I'm having one of those days. Okay, I want to do this on the front of this one. So let's mark it here, and I'm going to put it up to my guide, and I'm going to mark it at 2.5, 1, 2.5. And then my next mark would be this 4.5. So they're 2 inches is what they are. Your first mark is 1 3/4. So that makes that one just a little bit smaller. And then, well, not smaller, but a little bit. But it fits right. So anyways. Okay, so we're going to cut this one off of that one. So let's draw our 1/2-inch lines, just so that, we don't have to do that on these ones. That's the other one. But I'll tell you what, you guys, I'm having a day. We're going to put that right up to the middle and notch it. We're going to put this up to the middle of our notch and notch it. And now this one we make 2. So we're going to notch it. And then we're going to notch it again. There. Now we can cut. Get our ruler. And we're going to line it up. Put our valleys as close to that line going this way as we can. And we want this line to be lined up. So it's kind of a dance to get everything just right on there, but you'll get it. You can just barely see that line at the valley of my notches. So I'm going to line up my ruler, and I'm cutting this piece and this piece. There we go. So there's that. Now this one, same thing. We're going to line it up. We're going to get our valley up there. We'll get this line straight. We can just see that line peeking through the valley. Almost. There we go. Pull it through just a little bit. And when you're cutting, you'll feel when your knife, and you can use a paper cutter with this too, but I like using the knife. You can feel when it hits that valley and stops cutting. You just want to kind of take it slow. So there's that one. Did I cut this one? I think I might have cut this one. Yeah, this is supposed to be at 2.5. So I'm going to, 1, 2, oh, I did. No, I didn't. I did 1 1/4. So let's, that's 2.5. We can fix it. I tell you, I'm good at that. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put that new line right in the middle, and I'm going to snug it up in there. There. And now I'm just going to straighten out that little notch there. There we go. That looks better. Always a way to fix it. See what I did? I cut the wrong end off. That's why you make the X's. Oh, you guys. Okay, so let's make, since this is going to be our last one, this is going to be our back one, we'll make this one our first one. So let's mark it again. Our first mark was at 1 3/4. 1 and 1, 1, 2, 3/4. Tell you what, you guys, these are just as beneficial for me as they are to anybody that's never done them before. Because I'll tell you what, you see, they can get a little bit confusing sometimes. Especially when you're sitting here running your mouth like I am. As Julie from Camellia Crafts would say, I'm waffling. So let's do this. We're going to keep this. We want the first tab. We're going to get rid of these. There. Okay. Did I do them right? Let's see. Okay, so this one needed to be at, it needs to be at 2.5. 1, 2. And a half. Lordy, lordy. If I did it right, I did it right before, but I wasn't on camera then. So, you know, there's always that joyful happiness that says, hey, Amy, everybody's going to be watching. Do something really dumb. Do something really silly. Okay, I can do that. I'm good at it. Cut in the wrong spot, but we fixed it. It's okay. It just goes to show you can fix it. It's just paper. And if I ruined it so bad that I couldn't fix it, I would get another piece of paper. That's all there is to it. There's always a way to fix it, even if it means getting a new piece of paper. But I digress. I messed up. We fixed it. So now we're going to line this up. Get our handy. Line it up. Again, about 1/8 of an inch from the top, just like the other ones. And then we're going to line this up. And I can get rid of my marks. I can erase those, and they'll be gone. And we will never know that I messed it up. There's that one. Get rid of this one. And we'll get rid of these ones. There's not a lot left on there, but a little bit. But it's hard to get those right in the center if you don't know where the center, where you're aiming for, because I don't know, they made it hard to see in there. There. Boy. That one was a struggle. Sorry, guys. So, when you're making these, your papers are 4.5 by 6.5. 4.5 by 6.5. Your first mark is going to be at 1 3/4. That's this one, 1 3/4. Your second mark is going to be at 1 1/4 and 3 1/4. 1 1/4 and 3 1/4. And your last mark is going to be at 2.5. Right there. So they'll all line up. You'll have 3 distinct tabs. And they'll look great. We'll get these ones done. Give it a little bit of ink. This one a little bit of ink. I like that stripe. I have so much airmail stuff. I have airmail labels. I have airmail letters. I have so much airmail stuff that I have wanted to do an airmail journal for the longest time. And I know Deb she's a mail carrier, and so she has wanted to make a postal journal for a while too. So there we go. After all that, look at how nice they are. They turned out great. So we've got this one, this one, this one. We've got this set of 3. We've got this set of 3. And we've still got the ones that I made to show you in the beginning that I can decorate. So there's another 3. So we've got 3. We made 9. And we've got 3 more. So we've got 12 total little itty-bitties file folders that we can put in our box. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. I'm sorry for the mistake. Keeping it real. I don't edit. But if you're going to make these, let me know. And let me know how they turn out. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.